We're on. I need to get all your questions up.
Yeah, some of them are really hard.
Oh, you got ballads? Yeah, I got loads.
I looked at Bally's last night, I thought, I don't want to do that one.
Right. The difference by doing it this, so what happens when we do it this way,
Yeah.
is that my friends get to see it, your friends don't.
Good. Have you got any friends?
I've got all members. Yo, Hina? Yo, man? Right, let me get the questions. So we're going to do it slightly different. This is in-house video. Obviously, we have a pretend plastic screen here.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is all good. Right, let me get your questions up, and we rock and roll. Yo,
We are?
yeah, we are live. Look, we've got 6 people. So you hear that language, right? These kids are watching language. So we'll just let everyone build on, and then I'll get all your questions up, and we rock and roll.
Top cupboard one.
Rob, top cruise, where the sugar is for Isabel.
Yeah, right.
Oh no, it's in the utility room in the bag.
It shows how much, how often we use sugar.
Yeah, it's sugar for Isabel. You
I
okay?
don't do sugar.
Only in the
Right. Where are these questions? We'll let everyone build up.
You don't need to let everyone build up, do you?
Milk in your coffee, Mr. Honey.
Please, sir. This is service, guys. Get a fresh cup of coffee.
No biscuits,
Oh yeah,
no cake.
I wish it was.
I've got a bean burger.
A vegan bean burger.
A bean burger to dip in the tea.
A vegan bean burger.
Oh, I'll get it in there. It's fine. I use my laptop. Right, guys. So let's get rock and rolling. Yo, Ruby's live as well. Yo. We're actually on one camera, guys. So if you're not really recognised that, we are on one camera. So the first one, really, this is going to be an interesting one. If those of you who do not know Isabel, Isabel is a tough cookie. I can sit here and say that because she won't hit me. Is a tough cookie by trait. But yeah, Isabel's journey is a remarkable journey from the moment I met her. In essence, you know she had potential, but you just don't know how much she had. And I don't think she really understood her potential until she really started to embark upon her journey. But I'm going to let her share insights into her journey, but we'll start with at the start and what was her decision to take ownership of her own health. So Isabel, in your own eyes,
Words, even.
words. See, this is part of the issue that we have. This is probably why it's better that we actually sit here, because obviously over video you can. Isabel's politically correct, so she always likes to correct me. Look at this as well. This is service.
Morning.
Oh, look, perfect. Look,
Shall leave you to it.
Right. Where do you want me to start?
let's start with the moment you knew that I don't know, you was attempting to. Oh, that's a fantastic picture. We'll turn it around. Look at that. The moment you started to think about actually I need to do something with my journey. What was the turning point for yourself?
I've always exercised, and I was always tried to be pretty fit, but I wasn't losing weight, and I'd employed a personal trainer who came here, but nothing was shifting, and then I joined somewhere around Branston's, and that wasn't working either, and I kept seeing pictures pop up with people and their journey and, you know, leaning out, and I thought, maybe I need to just investigate, so I rang Bav and said, what's it all about? And she told me, and then I said, well, they don't do one-on-one training. And she said, no, but you'll be fine, you'll be fine. I was thinking, no, I'm not going to be fine. Anyway, I just thought, okay, I'll go in and just have a look and keep an open mind. And then I didn't look back.
Yeah, but we do remember the actual sit-down message, because I'm actually, now you've mentioned it, I'm starting to have epiphany moments about what you said in that and things like that. So can you tell people what you did when you sat down in my chair and some of the things you said about what you didn't want?
Yeah, so I was facing the gym, and I think Louise Eiley Ridge was in there, and some other people looking really ripped, and Sam said to me, well, what size do you want to be? Where do you want to, go down to? Because I think I was 110 kilos. Yeah, I was 110 kilos. And
110 kilos, guys.
I said, I don't want to look like that. I never want to look like that. I don't want that ripped look. And I think on reflection, I don't think I ever believed I could get that look. And therefore, I was telling myself I didn't want it.
Of course, because obviously sometimes to put yourself in a safe place, you can't say you want that, because if you don't believe it or you can't see it yourself or visually touch it yet, obviously all it's going to create is obviously that fear, right? You're going to put your guard up. But in terms of obviously when you went through your journey, then because obviously describe the start of your journey, because obviously I remember kickstarts of your journey, but how did you find it started? Because I think the challenge is what really
it was the challenge. So you were my coach first, and then Caroline was, and then I remember emailing Caroline and saying, I can't handle Sam, he doesn't get me, he doesn't understand me, please will you be my coach? So she said, yeah, of course. So I then did the D2S, dropped 2 sizes, and I do remember that day you came into the gym and you said, Isabel, you're going to have to do a video every morning. And I went, I'm not doing it, Sam, I'm not doing it. And you said, if you don't do it, then I'm going to kick you off. And I went, you can't bloody do that. And you went, watch me. And I thought, oh my God. And I started really panicking, thinking, can I do a video every morning? And I think that was a bit of a turnaround, epiphany moment for me, because I kind of thought, do you know what? If I'm going to do this, I've got to do it. And absolutely every single challenge that I have done, that I have committed to, I have done 100%. I've done every video, every morning, every evening. I've done everything I was asked.
So just to rephrase, guys, did you hear that bit where she said the effing and blinding that went on that day was quite it was quite a ferocious one-to-one, it felt like, on the gym floor. I think a lot of the people over the time will probably see me and Isabel go toe-to-toe on the gym floor, but as you can appreciate, for example, sometimes remember my role is to actually challenge yourself, challenge you, right? Sometimes I'm not coming from a place of what's it called? Malicious? No, malicious. Malicious. I'm coming from an intent place where actually, you know what, to be better, unfortunately, you've got to get uncomfortable. Right? And one of Isabel's things, like I said about the videos, and for those of you who don't know videos and stuff like that, these are videos where you express your gratitude, what you're going to do that day, and so forth. And probably really the place where Isabel really started to really get into tune with herself. And then there's the evening ones. And she still has a little video book now called the 6-Minute Journal. I won't read it to you.
I do it every day.
She still does it to this day, right? So she can appreciate it. It had a massive impact on her. But over the course of that challenge, then, what did you explore? What did you learn about yourself? What did you lose? Because I
lost 22 pounds, but I didn't lose as many inches as I wanted.
You're still pissed though, right?
Very pissed off with myself.
6 weeks, right? 22 pounds and still pissed off.
I think I didn't lose as many inches as I wanted to lose, and looking back on that, I think that's really sad that I didn't recognise the good. I didn't recognise the small gains, and I think that's changed much more now along the way. That we need to recognise the small gains and the small steps, because they're the ones that make the big win, I think.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, no, I was really grumpy. But doing the videos really makes you think about it much more. You have to engage in it and connect with it much more than just writing.
Yeah.
And then reflecting in the evening was really good as well, because again you can then look at what you have done, what you haven't done, what you're struggling with, and I think that's really important as well.
When you was doing that, for example, was it, because obviously, like you just said, a lot of people look at who you are today, right, and go, wow, Isabel does this, and this. But for example, even through that the 6-week challenge, for example, did you find you weren't who you were then, now, were you? So in the 6 weeks, you're not the person then either, right? Or would you say every time you commit to something, you always see it through? Because there is an element of growth in you, isn't there?
Oh, what, in the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Oh, it's massive. I think I think there was a lot of me in there, but it was covered up with a whole multitude of things like anger. I had a bad relationship with alcohol. How I say that, I'm not an alcoholic, but
I disagree, guys. When she goes
I've
away,
got my gin
when she goes away on holiday, it's like they've been boys' holiday.
yeah, I do blitz it a bit, but you know, it was an unhealthy relationship in
Yeah.
that if I got stressed or I wanted to reward myself, it was always with drink. And in that 8 weeks, I've still got the diary. You made me sit down and really reflect on what it was that I was leaning on.
Yeah.
And did I need to lean on it? So for the 8 weeks of the challenge, I gave up alcohol completely. Absolutely, 100% gave it up. And gave up that habit of feeling Friday night was a drink night. And came out of it with a much better attitude towards alcohol. And it's not changed. That attitude has not changed. If I drink because I consciously drink.
Yeah.
Even when my mum died, I told you, didn't I, that I drank on the night, but the next day I didn't, because I didn't want it. I didn't want to re-establish a habit, and I wanted to know that I didn't have to drink, even though my heart was broken. So yeah, I now know.
So just revealing she's an alcoholic. No, but like I said, again, I think the thing what you mentioned was actually you had layers, and everyone's got layers, right? When it comes to your fat loss journey or health journey, whatever journey you want to go on, right? There's layers to each individual. Unfortunately, we think we are the person we are, but actually when you start to peel back the layers, you start to take one layer off, then you figure out what this is, and you figure out the next layer off. It's like the film Face Off. You have one face and another face. In essence, that happens over the course of a fat loss journey. You always, in essence, feel like you're changing face. Because you're obviously adapting one to the new behaviours that you're forming, but also either learning or exploring your previous behaviours or what put you in that place. Because when you first came to 110 kilos, so the 110 kilos is for a lot of people, that's a lot of weight, right? She's looking at me for that. But 110 kilos, what got you to 110 kilos? What do you think was the main reason? Because obviously 110 kilos doesn't come overnight.
No,
And you are a big boned woman.
I am big boned, and I'm actually very heavy as well, because I've had DEXA scans and they always say that I'm solid, but I've got quite a high muscle mass as well for a female, so that makes me heavier as well.
Drop that in there, guys.
I don't know what it is now though, do I? So Rob and I are very big socialites. So we like to, go out. We like to, we play hard. We work hard, and we went. You can see all my cookbooks. I've got enormous amount of cookbooks. I have a passion for cooking. I haven't got a particularly sweet tooth, but we like to go out a lot. We drank a lot, and it just starts to pile on.
Did you recognise you were putting weight on though, or was you just oblivious to it?
Yeah, I've always been big, and I can always kind of carry it.
What, 110 kilos you could carry?
Well, I mean...
110 kilos, guys. Do you think you could carry it?
Yeah, I could carry it. I mean, I was a size 20, 22, 20.
Okay, so you're 110 kilos, you're telling me you could carry it, but you're size 20. You can carry it.
Yeah. Well, I was...
But what would you...
I thought I was happy. You go through... when you... Dawn French, she always says, I'm happy fat. And I was pretending to myself I was a happy fat. I was okay. I was happy.
Dawn French is pretending.
I know that now. But I think we have to remember that happiness does not come with being thin and fit.
No.
It doesn't.
No.
It
I'd agree with that.
And
that's the misconception now, though, isn't it?
Absolutely, totally.
Instagram. Facebook,
Totally.
Misconception is that if I'm lean, I've got abs, I'm going to be happy.
Please don't lose weight because you think you're going to find happiness, because you're flipping not. And I think the weight loss journey was painful. There were some really painful moments and parts of it where I really had to dig deep and look at myself and question myself and look at where my happiness came from and looked at what it is I wanted from life. And that doesn't stop. I still do that.
Do you think the thing is with I think with losing weight, the reason why most people turn to losing weight first is because it does open the doors for confidence, right?
Oh, totally. And
So when you start to feel confident, you start to explore a little bit.
and you begin to feel a bit more sexy. You walk in a different way. I mean, you're always teasing me in the gym, strutting my stuff. But I don't know if I should admit this, but I actually quite like looking at myself in the mirror. I like looking at my muscles. I enjoy it. It makes me feel good. But having said that, I also really like seeing everybody else in the gym. I love watching them grow and develop. I love watching them come in and watching them work out and how hard they're working out and their commitment. And it doesn't matter what size they are, I get a lot of joy from that too.
But that's because people remember the thing is as well. Like you could have like 50, even 60 people at the gym, right? Even actually 3/4 of the gym walk in and just think you've been who you've been, right?
Yeah.
But they don't realise that you've been 110 kilos. You know what it's like to be big. You know what it's like to have the thought process of being big. You know what it's like to look at yourself. You know what it's like to be horrible to yourself. You know what it's like to lean on alcohol. But people don't. People always forget that. It's like the saying, isn't it? Everyone always just looks at the end product, and the end product, they get jealous on the end product. But actually, in reality, like you said, I remember having one-to-ones with you where one-to-ones been tough. I know we've had arguments. I know we've not agreed. I know we've had confrontation. I know for a fact where there was one time when we had confrontation, you walked out. Right, and then then we had to have Helen to intervene, and then Helen to say you're okay, and then Helen to be our bridge, and then obviously I remember Rob once was that little bridge as well. So you got to appreciate, guys, that sticking with the journey and actually reflecting on yourself is the hardest thing to do. Even me personally, reflecting on myself is hard. So I can imagine not only for Isabel it's going to be hard, but this is something to remember. Probably the key point of this, really, on this note, is that happiness doesn't come from having abs,
No.
right? It's you could probably say it's a component, but it's not the be all and end all, right? The be all and end all is actually the journey that you embark upon that creates happiness, because obviously you start to develop things. So, for example, Isabel, if you take you when you was 110 to where you are now, what things have you done in your life now that you wouldn't have done at 110?
Oh, that's so many things. Like I did a long bike ride. I never thought. I've always looked and heard of people doing London to Paris and thinking, oh, I could never do that.
Imagine that 110 kilos on a bike ride.
Yeah. So I did that last year. And
Tell me, what was it? I mean, how many miles?
I don't know, 400 and something.
So 400. What from here?
In that heat wave from London to Paris.
So from London to Paris, 400-mile bike ride.
Yeah, that was great. And I had signed up to do Ride India this year. In fact, I've deferred it to next year. So next year I'm doing Ride Europe, come back 2 weeks later I'm doing Ride India.
And that, obviously all that, guys, has just come from confidence. The thing is with losing weight, confidence grows exponentially because you believe in yourself. The key is you believe in yourself. So everything you commit to, you end up believing in yourself that actually you fulfill, right? But also it allows you then to challenge yourself. I always said, I remember Isabel talking about after the London bike ride to Paris is actually you're going to do an ultramarathon, right? And then she's like, nah. But then she thinks about it, right? That's what it's all about, right? I'm not there to dictate what she does. But again, Lisa gives her an opportunity to think outside the box, think about what she could challenge herself, right? Because when you do develop confidence, the thing is when you do get to a goal, so in Isabel, there's an area of her journey that I'm really going to stick, probably pry on quite a lot, to be fair. Actually, we might as well go there now, is the bit when she had a photo shoot. Because if you fast forward, so how many years did it take you to get to where your photo shoot was? I might have to grab it as well.
About a year.
A year? Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
No, I did a good job.
It was about a year.
So this is Isabel, right? The big one here. Right? She has that in the kitchen. I can imagine it just reminds her not to grab a drink. Right?
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, for example, when you got to that point the reason why I want to touch on it, because like anyone, when you have a goal, you get to a goal and then you become a bit, there's always a high, but there's a low, right? But for you, there's an element where you're still, and I'll probably say you're still learning it now, but you're still learning to understand yourself in terms of the body fat, the weight, when you get to a goal. Because obviously when you get there, you always want it, you try to aim for more, wasn't good enough, then you try and find that balance. How would you describe that head mess when you do lean out? Because remember, I think there's a head mess, and this is for people who are on a journey, there's a head mess when you are big, right? As you can appreciate because you're big, so there's a lot of behaviours there. But even when you go through your journey, you're learning. But when you get to the other end, i.e. say for example you feel this is the finished product, there's a battle there.
Oh, I think it's the hardest battle. I remember just saying to you, Sam, give me a challenge, I need a challenge, I need a goal, and Sam said to me, you need to just relax for 6 months. And I was going, 6 months? I can't relax for 6 months, I can't sit with this for 6 months. I've got nothing to aim for, I've got nowhere to go. I reflected back on my journey and I thought, I didn't enjoy my journey enough, I should have enjoyed that, I should have embraced it more. I fought against it. And I still do in some respects, because as you know, I always need a goal of something, I always need something that I'm working towards.
But yeah.
That makes me get on my bike, it makes me keep fit, keeps me going. I just need something to aim for. I still like that, and I still set my own little goals and challenges.
In terms of obviously the goals and challenges though, I probably don't answer the question, but I really want to get to that point where you yin and yang hard between the body fat percentage, the weight, the body fat percentage, the weight, the body fat percentage, the weight.
Yeah,
Because we describe happiness, right, and then we describe this period. Because this is a tough period for you. You've come out, you're in a different place now, but it's still tough at that time, wasn't it? Because you'd say to me, oh, my food, and I'd be like, okay, relax, and you'd be like, I don't want to relax. I'm like, okay, learn to live with being 17%, 18%.
I still struggle in terms of if I put on weight, in the week I'm like, oh, why have I put on weight? Let's look at my food, and then I'd bring my food down, and I'd overtrain, and then my body would hold on to stuff, and I wouldn't lose weight. And I think when you've been big, the biggest fear is going back there, and you forget that you're actually not going to go back there, because it will take quite a while, but there has to be a parameter, and I work within a parameter now. So I personally like to work between 72 and 76-ish, and if I go above that, then I get wobbly, and I do something about it. But now I work within a parameter, and I'm better. But it's still an anxiety of mine.
I think you've nailed it wrong. That fear, the fear of going backwards, the fear of not having enough behaviours to pull it back in line, the fear of it slipping too much. I
categorically know though that I'll go on holiday and I'll blitz it, but I categorically know I'll come back, and within the first day I've prepped, I've written a list of what I'm doing, I know what exercise I'm doing every day, I look at my food, and I always do that. So I'm more trusting now that it will be okay.
Talk about this. Let's talk about, so the one thing what obviously people will look at now is that we spoke about it on Wednesday, is how you take away decision making from your routine. Describe that to people. So, for example, Isabel wakes up, right, and everyone just thinks she's a machine and she doesn't have these things. But Isabel has obviously a business, she has a busy husband, she has 2 kids, she has a house, she has a clean, she does all the cooking, right? She does a lot, but she still fits a lot in. And I think that comes down to what you value, right? When you value health a lot. But also, it's about probably non-negotiables, which probably Isabel will just share with you, but also her ability, what we discussed on Wednesday, to take decision-making process or things that could veer you off track. Describe like your morning routine is now. Like how do you set up for the day? What makes you tick?
I'm always organised. So the night before, I will think, right, what time do I need to be where? What time do I need to be on the bike? So if I'm on the bike at that time, what do I need to do? I get everything ready, everything's prepped, my clothes are prepped, my food is prepped. I'll put my cup by the coffee machine. I just know every minute what I need to do, and I then will govern what time I wake up. So from waking up to getting on the bike, I need an hour, and in that time I've done the washing, I've done the hoovering, I've done the kids' breakfast, I've done, all
Do you ever feel that you don't relax? 'Cause that's the big one. A lot of people say, "Oh, I've just had a hard day. I need to relax. I need to put my feet up." And when you put your feet up, you obviously choosing not to do the thing that you probably need to do, but you're just choosing to say you need to relax. But I get it for some of you. But how do you view it as?
I always work out in the morning. That's my best time to work out, and that's a non-negotiable. I work out every morning, and then I work. I probably don't relax until the weekend, and then I'll sit down and might watch a movie. We had friends round Friday night, because we were going to have them round last night, but we had them Friday night.
She got smashed.
I didn't really, but my aim was to get, I think I went to bed at 1 in the morning. My aim was to get up at 8:30 and be on the bike. And I woke up and I thought, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get on the bike. It's okay. I've been on the bike every day this week. I've worked out every day. I'm not going to go on the bike. So I didn't. And then I met a friend for coffee, Kate. I met Kate, lovely Kate.
Legs 11, Kate. Legs 11. Here's Kate. Here's Kate. Whee!
Gorgeous legs. So I met Kate for a coffee, and then I thought, oh, my day is all upside down. I haven't exercised. I haven't done anything. So I thought, right, I'm going to turn my days the other way. So my Saturday became my Sunday. I blitzed and prepped all my food yesterday, and then at 3 o'clock I went on my phone. And I thought, there's a mountain climb at 3 o'clock. So I got on my bike and did 2 hours on the walk. Felt great, and then I relaxed and watched a movie.
But also remember, guys, when Isabel talks about the bike as well, because Isabel's very strong on the bike. Everyone's probably seen her in the gym on that bike, right? She hogs it. If anything, it's got a name on it.
Yeah, no one go downstairs, please. That's my bike.
But the thing is, remember, again, it's what you see. It's just the thing is, if I could put a story or a timeline up, and that's what I could probably present in the gym of people's journeys, it'd be fascinating. Probably not just a picture, but a timeline, like a timeline of like weight, a timeline of what happened here, a timeline of frustrated conversation, a timeline of when she succeeded. It'd be massive. And this is something when I always say to clients what are coming on board, don't be afraid to reach out to people who have done it or been where you are, because actually we do that in all walks of life. We all have coaches. We all, even me, I have 3 coaches that we go to or pull upon when we need advice or we need something. And that's something to think about if some of you are just starting at the studio or been there for some time but still a bit struggling. Don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask them what makes them tick, what did they learn from. And the challenge is you got to remember, sometimes when someone says something, you may not be ready to do it as well.
Yeah, I think don't, wherever you are on your journey, and people that have done their journeys, and you talk to people like Daksha, and we still all struggle. We still have our struggles. You do.
You just don't see it, because with me, I take the brunt.
We are human. We're still
I take the brunt.
human. He thinks he does, doesn't he? Listen to him. But I think the other thing for me, I love people reaching out to me. I love people talking to me. I love mentoring. I listened to Michelle Obama's podcast on mentoring the other day, and I suddenly thought, I need a mentor. I've got a coach, but I need a mentor, because I think we all need that to go and just look at where we see our future, where we feel our gains are, etc.
I think it's important. In anything, when you've got life, you got a dentist, for example. You've always got a dentist. You've got a pet, right? But when it comes to our personal life, sometimes like a mentor is key. Some people have business strategy coaches. Some people have life coaches. Some people have PTs. Right? There's an array of things, but we choose to sometimes either embark upon it on our own, which is quite a big scenic route, or have the people on your side that allow you to keep persevering forward, right?
But use your coach. I had to have a coach that was strong, because I think that was really, I was reflecting on the bike once when I'd had a right ding-dong with Sam. I was so pissed off with him in a massive, massive way. I was really, really upset. In fact, I was angry, I was upset, I didn't know how I felt. And I was thinking, right, I'm just going to get another coach. I need another coach. I'm just going to say to them, I need another coach. But when I really reflected on it, I thought, there's no one else who will tell me exactly as it is, and that's what I need. I need someone to be stronger than me at times and say no.
She controls Rob, by the way.
At home, yeah, I wear the trousers.
See? So
And
I have to wear the trousers in the gym, right?
But
I think-
that's really important to me. That is really,
Yeah,
really
I think-
key to my success.
Yeah, because what I add to that is that, so Isabel always completes a one-to-one form. Always completes one. When I get it, I'm like dreading it, because obviously the last question on it is always about the coach's feedback or what can I coach do more. But Isabel doesn't pull back any punches. So, for example, if she feels that we don't communicate, if she feels that we don't connect, or she feels like I'm not in a corner, she will tell me. And I think that's a great trait of Isabel. The reason why I think me and Isabel get on great is because we are honest, but sometimes when you're honest, obviously you get defensive, right? But when you reflect on the conversation, you both leave the conversation, the big thing what we're both good at is that we reflect and go, actually, you know what, she's right, or I'm not delivered on that, or I said I would do this and not done that. And sometimes you have to put your hands up and go, you know what, you are right, but we don't do that probably in the moment, we do that probably on a reflection.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is we're just honest with each other. Like, if she's going after a goal, I'll say yes or no, right? If I'm not being a good enough coach, or what she expects of a coach. That's the thing as well, guys. Remember, when you have coaches, people watching this at the studio or not the studio, if you do hire a coach or have a PT, there's an element where you've got to demand from them as well. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes it's like, yeah, the coach has just sent me a food plan, or they just said that, okay, great. But sometimes you've got to remember, you're paying for an investment. You're investing in yourself, but therefore you should expect a service back. But that service got to come with some balls as well. You got to have some balls to basically challenge the coach. And I think that's what Isabel does really well. But also the one-to-one forms, when we do have one-to-ones, every time we have a one-to-one in lockdown, there's always been a form to go through. A victories, the challenges and obstacles. And we do go through them, right? But I think that's one of her traits as well. She'll always do the work in that sense.
Yeah, I think that whatever journey you're on, I think it's really important to know what it is that you want. It's not what your coach wants, it's not what other people want, it's what you want for yourself. And I think sometimes that's really hard, but it's so worth knowing what it is that you want.
Yeah.
And then when you know what you want, then you can go after it.
I think the interesting thing, sometimes a coach always imprints their goals on the client, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, in the past, in the early days, that's one of the biggest things I used to do, right?
Yeah.
You've got to be lean, you've got to get to this point. But actually, it comes from what Isabel says, but you've got to go through that journey of yours and understand where there's that fit for you. Do you want to be lean, do you not? Do you want to be size 10? Fine. Do you want to be size 12? Fine.
Yeah.
Right, but it's that coming from you, because ultimately the more it comes from you, the more, like Isabel said, you'll enjoy your journey a lot more and actually achieve it rather than feeling pressurised, right? When you feel pressurised to achieve something that's not your own goal.
A whole journey, I think, is all around mindset and awareness. Food, nutrition, exercise, it all comes in it, but actually, unless your mindset is there and unless you have awareness, self-awareness, and you're prepared to do that work, I think
There's always a battle.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
it's
long-term
really,
health or long-term, like Isabel said earlier, when you're at your goal, there's still obstacles. You still got to not have the alcohol. You still got to say, no, I can't, I don't want that. You still got to get back on it after a holiday. There's still obstacles, but I think it's important that there's an element where you have to continue to develop. I think, I always say it, like in our professions, in career, we educate ourselves in school, we then go to uni, and then we get a job, but then from there we stop developing, right? So we stop developing it on the relationships. There's a saying, when you have a child, there's no book that can teach you how to bring a child up. And while that is fundamentally true, there's nothing to say that you can't take something from a book. right?
I learn from books and podcasts all the time.
Yeah.
All the
But the
time.
thing is,
I
because you
learn from
learn,
people's conversations
because you
all
learn-
the time. Yeah.
because you learn and learn and learn, you grow and
Yeah.
grow and grow, right?
Yeah.
But that's where people stop, I think. People stop investing in that element of learning, or they stop reading the book, stop listening to podcasts. And that's a journey to get to. That when you start a journey, like if I had a new client said, "Oh, listen to a podcast," right? Sometimes it's not going to stick. It's not meant to stick. It might not be the place to stick. Sometimes you look on Instagram, you look at everything. Oh, that person does meditation. That person does this. That person does this. Or I must do it all, right? And that's a journey to get to as well. So it's just something to recognise. The basic principles, i.e., water, food, and exercise, are fundamental basics. Right? Meditation is something that develops over time. Wouldn't you agree? Like. I'm going to say I have my on and off moments in meditation, but we won't get into that because Isabel will.
He's running away from something, guys.
Right, I'm not running away because guess what?
You'll never admit it.
I got loads of questions for Isabel, so we've got one. So, we'll start with Helen's because Helen's got some bad boys.
Oh,
So,
okay.
what was the most valuable thing you learned about yourself on your journey?
I think I'm still learning this, and it's all around being worthy and being enough. I think through my meditation and through my self-development work, I had an epiphany that actually a lot of what I do, overtraining, overdoing this, overdoing that, a lot of it is because I've never felt enough. And that's a lifetime's work.
Yeah.
But that really, I was writing today, why was I nervous about today? And a lot of it is because I was worried that I wasn't going to be good enough or
It's been alright. It's been alright.
So I know it's a really hard one to live with,
course.
and I'm still learning that. So that's my biggie. Yeah.
What do you is second one? What do you feel when you look at photos of your old self?
Probably sadness.
Wow, interesting. Is that sadness on the regret that you didn't do something sooner, or sadness that you got to that state and you
Sadness
wasted
that I
time?
allowed myself to get like that, and pretended that it was okay to be like that.
Wow, there you go. That's important. Would you do your journey all over again? And if so, how would you like it to be different?
I wouldn't want to do the journey again.
I'm going to say
Oh my god!
I'd like the punches.
I wouldn't want to do the journey again, but if I had to do the journey again, I would do the journey again.
Obviously,
Because, obviously, always with myself. But because I think that we don't always get it right. And what I would do, I would have learned from the things that I didn't get right this last time and get it right. I probably would listen to more podcasts. I'd probably look at more self-development work and go from there, really.
Oh, nice. There you go. Right, next one. How do you see the next 3 years of your fitness journey?
Interesting. Just more of the same, really. I think I will.
I'm retiring, by the way, guys.
What's going on? I think continue on my bike. I love biking. I love being out in nature. I like to.
Guys, by the way, if you ever go on a walk with Isabel, right, make sure you just keep walking. She'll stop for the ladybird and see how good it is, and then she'll see an ant. Then she'll see an ant, and then you get down on your knees, and you go on your knees, and then go to a bit of mud, and then see an ant.
I told Kate this yesterday, didn't I, Kate? I said he's got a problem with nature. I love nature.
Guys, I like nature, right? But when you go on a walk, and then like the actual flow of conversation changes because there's a ladybird, then that's the bit rude. I personally think it's rude, but it's just a ladybird. But okay.
I think it's being present and being at one with your surroundings.
Okay. Here's the next one for you. What 3 things have you learned about being coached?
What 3 things have I learnt about being coached? One is that sometimes I need to back down and recognise that somebody's seeing something that I'm not. That's not easy to do. I have learnt that I am stronger than I believe.
Yep.
And I have learnt that they are human as well, and they have their own struggles.
Nice. They're big things. Right, some more questions. How have you overcome fears and obstacles?
I don't think I have learnt to overcome them and therefore not have fears and obstacles.
There's all, you want
I'm always going to
yeah,
have fears,
always,
and
right?
I'm always going to have obstacles.
But how do you see
do
them
I
now?
manage it?
Do you accept
I
them as
do-
part of life?
Pardon?
Do you just accept they're part of life?
That they're a part of life, and actually sometimes when I have an obstacle, I always look for what I've learned out of it, a positive out of it.
Yeah.
You always learn from something, and I think everything happens for a reason, and I try and look for that reason, or sit with it, or I meditate, I self-reflect.
Yeah, sit with it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because obviously sometimes, remember, when we have an obstacle and we're saying think of the positive, right? Guess what, guys? That's not going to happen straight off the bat. You're going to sit there and still think of the negatives. It's human nature, right? You're still going to think there and go, oh, these are negatives, these are the fears, these are the obstacles, right? But then you have to do a bit more work and then flip it. That's the work, though. That's where the work happens.
Yeah.
But initially, you're going to go shit, crap.
And allow, Kate and I were talking about this yesterday, weren't we, Kate, about, allow that time of chaos to happen.
Yeah.
Because you need it. You need to feel resentful. You need to feel the anger. You need to feel that you're being hard done by. Just sit with that and observe that. That's great. And then slow. If you fight it and you try and shelve it, my belief is it will bite you on the bum. It will come back and bite you on the bum. So I now don't resist. I now sit with it and talk. I think talking is really important. I think being open, and I've often said to you, and that's been a big learning for me as well, that I don't show vulnerability very easily. Because I've always been brought up to believe it's a weakness.
She does. She just shouts.
Yeah, I probably do. Do I shout first and then cry later? Not that I cry very often, but
you just vent.
Yeah,
But like
because
vent.
my layer is anger. My go-to emotion is anger.
You ever seen when she lifts weights and she don't get the weights right?
So
if everyone can remember training on the gym with Isabel, right? Invisible, everyone's invisible. Like Isabel needs everything. Just put that out there.
Oh, shall we go there?
Yes.
Shall we go there?
I know where we go.
He never lifts my weights for me, does he?
I don't need to because I can't do them. Too heavy. Next one for you. How has your family around you come into YouFit? What? How has your family found you coming? Oh, how has your family found you coming to YouFit? Because obviously you have to be on a journey, but obviously.
Do you know, I was thinking about this last night. I am so lucky, and I'm glad I've got an opportunity to say how amazing my family have been. They are super supportive. But I think we live in a family where we allow each other to be who they are and to develop. So Rob has been nothing but supportive. If I say I'm going on the bike for an hour and a half, he never says no.
Yeah, but I'd love that. Imagine that, like to sit there and just do what you want for an hour and a half because your missus is gone.
Never ever say, yeah, exactly. But it goes both ways. So if he says to me, I'm going to go out with my mates or I'm going to go out for a bike ride, I'll say go.
Yeah.
So we, I think, as a family, we're very supportive, but we allow each other to have space away from each other, but then we try and get time together as well. So they've been great.
Mm-hmm.
My children think I'm a bit mad, over the top, but...
Couldn't understand. Here's one for you. What does YouFit mean to you?
Again, I think for me, YouFit is, I'm going
What's that mean?
Omni is, so multi is that you have a number of strings. Omni is all.
Oh, nice.
You are omni, you are a total. So you're a one-stop shop. You look after every aspect. I think for me now, the most important thing is the fact that I've got a family around me. I've got friends. I've got people I can lean on. I've got people to support me.
You're not strong. There's a plastic board here, guys.
So yeah, it's family. I think family, friendship, support. You can't buy that.
You can't.
You can't buy that.
I think you just answered all the questions.
Hi.
Yeah. Right, let's go back. Someone asked a question earlier. Anyone got any questions? If you have, you can ask Isabel. Don't ask questions for me. Oh, there's buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Right. I'm interested to know what you reward yourself with now.
Oh. Who asked that?
Machine.
Oh, I like that question.
She saves till the weekend and that's a blowout.
What do
She rewards herself sitting on the bike for another hour.
I probably do. I love sitting on the bike. I've done 2 hours on the bike this morning.
What would you say it is though? What is your reward? Is it still? Do you still plan your rewards?
No.
No. Do you just sit with it and have it? Because would you say cake? Like, what is your
I
reward
don't
then?
eat cake.
What is it?
I sometimes we have hidden little bars of chocolate from Aldi, chili chocolate, a dark chili
Sounds
chocolate.
horrible.
Love that.
Chili chocolate.
Love that. If the weather's good, my reward is my holidays or sitting out in the garden with a chimenea, with a glass of wine or a gin and tonic.
How do you stress relief now then? Say for example, I don't know, big massive stress. How do you stress relief on a Tuesday, for example? Because no, it's not the weekend.
Two ways. One is exercise.
Because everyone knows you're stressed, right, in your house. When you're stressed, everyone knows it, right?
I'm not going to answer that.
When she's stressed, I don't know.
He's so rude to me, guys. Can you see how rude he is? How do I stress relief? Ricky asked me this the other day. Two things. I blitz it out because when I blitz it out on the bike or the kettlebells, I forget all the shit that's going on. But I also meditate and I sit with it. I sit with those feelings, sit with those emotions, and calm myself down that way. So both help.
Oh, nice. There you go, guys. So, no more questions, but I hope you found this insightful. Me and Isabel, we should do these. Might as well just make it a double act from going forward, right? I like to do these more often. But yeah,
great.
hope you found this journey insightful. What advice? Kate, just pop in there, Kate. What advice would you give someone who's just starting out on their journey?
I like that question, Kate. And
Kate, I love that question.
I think I would really ask them to reflect on what it is they want from.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you think someone really knows that?
Well, what is it that they're after? Are they wanting to lose weight? Are they wanting to do that? But basically, I'd say you owe yourself
Time.
to do it, and you have to put the work in to do it, and do it. I just think if they're trying to do it for someone else or because they think they should, then
Oh no, that's the best one. If you're doing it for someone else, that will never work.
It
Never
doesn't work.
work.
No.
It's short-lived.
So,
Like if you're doing it for a wedding, just to please everyone else at a wedding, for example, or wedding photos, guess what? You're gonna get fat after it.
yeah.
Right, it's just a fact.
So I would always say, reward yourself and give yourself that gift and do it.
Oh, pretty. What? Click on it. Oh, team leader. Learn a lot from me. Learn a lot from her. What about me? Right. Has anyone got any more questions? We'll sit here silent for 30 seconds.
Sam is jiggling under the table. Can you see him? He never sits still. Oh, he's exhausting to be with.
When you're not strong. Right. Do you ever get cross if you planned out your day and training doesn't happen? Ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
It'd be good. The thing is, I'll give
I
my take.
struggle with
Shush.
it.
I'm going first.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So, do you ever get cross if you plan out training? Of course, it's good to get cross though. I think personally, if you plan out to train and you don't train and you get cross, it means that there's a connection to training or a connection to your health or what you want to achieve is important to you, right? That's the biggest thing I'd say. If you don't get cross and you go, yeah, it's okay, I'll do it tomorrow, it's a bit washy for me. But if you do get cross, I think there's an element what Isabel's discussed throughout this, is just sit with it, get cross with it, but also look at the circumstance why it happened, probably take something from it, and then just change it. But I think getting cross is a good thing. What do you think?
I always get cross.
Yeah, she's not important now, but
I hate not training, but if there comes a time where I can't train, say I can't do a kettlebell or can't get on my bike, I'll get on my trampoline, I will do something. The rings on my watch have been closed every day for 3 years. That means I have to do 30 minutes
guys,
exercise.
just curiosity, right? The rings on the watch, the calories are only set at 250.
They're set at 550, and I often double it, but I will always do something. You can always get on your trampoline and bounce for 10 minutes, always. And I will always fit something in.
Nice trampoline here, guys, let's see it.
Yeah, it's new.
It's a
Yellow and
kitchen
brown.
furniture. Kitchen furniture.
Yeah, yellow and brown. But yeah, I do get cross. But generally in the week I factor it in.
Oh good, it's normal I get grumpy for the rest of the day. You get grumpy for the rest of the day, but don't let the grump, for example, deter you from everything else. So some people, remember, it's like with your food or with training, people go, oh fuck it, and then the whole day ends up being crap. But when the whole day is crap, for example, what happens is all you're doing is further punishing yourself. Right? You're punishing yourself for no reason. Like, it's okay to get frustrated, but again, part of frustration, sit with it, understand why it didn't happen, reflect, and move forward.
And look back on what you have done in that week. I mean, I do that too, and I'll look back and think, well, actually,
Rob made all the meals of the
we
week.
I don't rest enough, so sometimes it's good for me not to train.
Oh, I say that all the time.
What, for you?
No, for you.
Personally?
So if you,
You don't do any training, do you?
yeah, train now.
He only exercises round the block with me, that's why he doesn't like to stop and look at nature.
What scares you?
Oh, what scares me? Not being good enough.
Good enough. But good enough, remember, turn that around. It's not good
Really
enough to the public, it's good
scares
enough to yourself.
Yeah.
Right, you have to then work that bad boy out.
It really scares me that I'm not going to be a good enough mum, or I'm not going to keep up with people, or I'm not strong enough. Yeah.
Who's your biggest influence?
I think that's a really. I was reflecting on that. It was a good question, Valley. I think my dad was my initial biggest influence. My dad was a real grafter, you know, and he'd say, if a job's not worth doing, it's not worth. If a job's worth doing, it's worth doing well. And he gave me a really strong work ethic, that you work, you graft, you whatever you do in life, you graft, and that stayed with me always. So but then from my dad, Sam influences me, Rob influences me, Bally influences me. You know, I get influence from podcasts and books. So I haven't got a massive influence now, except for everybody around me.
So the biggest one, me, guys, me. I took from that, me. Do you realise how much you influence? Kate,
Who's
Matt.
put that?
Kate.
Oh, I love you, Kate.
Kate, custard. Her head's
no,
massive.
No, I don't.
Have you seen that
I
door?
don't even know what you're saying. What's she saying?
So do
No,
you realise how much you influence
No, I
someone?
don't. And actually, I don't. No, I don't think about that. Because everything I do, I am a people pleaser, and that used to be really important, that I pleased everybody. But actually now I do it for me. So if I influence people on the way and inspire people, fantastic. I'm really glad about that. But I do it for me now.
And then the others come along for the journey.
And honestly, please, anyone, just stop me, talk to me. I love that.
Any more questions? No.
Great questions, guys.
15 seconds? 40? 30?
Oh no.
Right. I think that's it.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.